Good morning, children. I hope you have seen the previous video, right, about the constitution, where I've explained about the kinds of the constitution. So here I'm going to again explain you the features of the constitution, right? So we have a new chapter, chapter 4, constitution, which I've already started earlier, right? And this video is in continuation with the previous one. So let's see what is it now. Now, if you see contents of a modern constitution, so I'm going to explain you what are the contents of a modern constitution. What should a constitution constitutes of, right? So, if you see, it basically includes what and affirmations of the aims, objectives, values, and goal which the people want to secure. A grant and guarantee of the fundamental rights and freedoms of the people, a detailed account of the organization of the government, the organization, power, and functions of its three organs and their interrelationship is defined and prescribed by the Constitution. Right. A federal constitution always provides for a definite division of power between the federal government and the government of the federating units. Provisions for the amendment of the Constitution always form a part of Constitution. Article 368 of the Constitution of India lays down the power and procedure of amendment of the Constitution, right? Then, the method of constituting the government or the election system and political rights of people are considered essential parts of every modern constitution. Clear, everyone? Then, if you see provisions regarding some fundamental principles of governance like rule of law, secularism, liberalism, separation of power, independence of judiciary are also included in a modern constitution. So if you see, these all are the qualities of a good, these all the qualities of a good constitution or a modern constitution, right? Where they have given the provisions for the constitution of rights and liberties of the people, provisions was given of the government of the state, provisions for the constitution of sovereignty, internally externally free from control. So these are all the contents of a good or a modern constitution, right? Let's see now. Okay, quality of a good constitution. Now, what are the qualities of a good constitution? Now, if you see, constitution must be systematically written. First of all, it should be systematically written and should fully incorporate the constitution law of the state. It should have the ability to develop and change in accordance with the changes in the environment. It should be neither unduly rigid nor unduly flexible. It must include a chapter on fundamental right and freedom of the people and provide a constitutional guarantee to it. It should clearly define the organization, power, and function of the government of the state, its three organs, their interrelationship, and limitation. It must provide for the organization and well functioning of a duly representative, responsible, right, limited with defined power and authority, accountable and transparent government. Clear, everyone? It must also provide for rule of law and supremacy of the constitution. Right, decentralization of power, independent and powerful judiciary, a system of local self-government everyone knows, method of amendment in the constitution, machinery for the conduct of free and fair elections. Clear? Then what happened later on? The constitution must clearly reflect the sovereignty of the people and should itself enjoy the status of the supreme law of the land. The language of the constitution should be simple, clear, and unambiguous. Standard terms should be used while defining the nature of organization and power of the government and other institution. The constitution must empower the judiciary with the power to interpret, protect, and defend the constitution and the fundamental rights and freedoms of the people against the possible legislative and executive excesses or control. In other words, if you see, it must create an independent judiciary enjoying the power of judicial review. You know what is judicial review? Where the power has to be seen of the legislative and executive organs whether they are following the rules and regulations of the constitution or not, right? And who is going to review judicially? The Supreme Court. Everyone knows. Clear? Let's move on to another slide now. Now we have flexible constitution. Now see, children, now here we have different constitution also that are there in our syllabus. So very first of all, I'm going to explain you about the flexible constitution of UK, because as I already explained you, UK's constitution is very flexible. Now what is it? Let's see now. The British constitution is a very flexible constitution. It can be amended partially or wholly by an ordinary law passed by the British Parliament. There is no difference between constitutional law and ordinary law, and each can be amended or abolished by British Parliament. It can be accomplished by passing of a simple law by both the houses of British Parliament. Since the upper house, the House of Lords, has very limited role in the legislative work, the real law-making power is in the hands of the House of Commons, and because of this fact, it really exercises the power to amend the Constitution. This makes the procedure of amendment of the British Constitution very easy and flexible. In other words, the British Parliament can pass a law by a simple majority and make any amendment in the Constitution. It can even amend the whole Constitution by passing a single law. However, in actual practice, the exercise is not so simple as it appears to be. Because of being a highly developed liberal democratic system in which strong and enlightened public opinion act as a director and determinator of lawmaking, the amendment of the British Constitution is at almost very cautious, conscious, and quite difficult exercise. The people are quite conservative and are in love with their history and tradition, and so much. At times, every major amendment becomes possible only after getting a particular mandate in favor of the proposed amendment. As such, despite being a very flexible constitution, it also at times works as a rigid constitution. So as a whole, if you see, the British Constitution has been and continues to be a very flexible constitution, and its flexibility has helped it to keep a good pace with needs of the changing socio-economic and political environment of the country. Then, right, this way we have reached to the end of the end of the video, and I hope so people have understood what is a flexible constitution, and what are the qualities of a good constitution. Clear, everyone? So if you remember, like, this is a flexible constitution of UK, then if you go back again, right, if you see here the contents of a modern constitution, right, so we are only repeating whatever we did in the previous videos, right? If you see, it basically include an affirmations of the aims, objectives, values, and goals, then a grant and guarantee of the fundamental rights and freedoms of the people, a detailed account of the organization of the government, the organization, power, and function of its three organs, and their interrelationship is defined and prescribed by the Constitution, right? A federal constitution always provides for a definite division of power between the federal government and the government of the federating units, right? Then if you see, provisions for the amendment of the Constitution, right, always forms a part of Constitution. Clear? Article 368 of the Constitution of India lays down the power and procedure of amendment of the Constitution. Then if you see, the method of constituting the government or the election system and political rights of the people are considered essential parts of every modern constitution. Clear? Then if you see, the provision regarding some fundamental principles of governance like rule of law, like they talked about secularism, they talk about liberalism, separation of power, independence of judiciary are also included in a modern constitution. If you see, then if you see, like according to some writers and all, a constitution is a basic law of a state which outline the framework and procedures of government, define its power and function, provide how constitutional changes may be made, and in a democracy usually guarantee the citizens certain protections against arbitrary government action, right? Like government cannot act in the way as she wants to be. Clear? Then whether it is so-called written or unwritten form, a constitution serves as a formation of state political institution and practices. Clear? I hope so people have cleared now what are the contents of a modern constitution. Clear, everyone? So if we like it just like that, we have to read. Now if you go ahead, then I already explained you about the qualities of a good constitution. Clear, everyone? Then afterwards, if you move further, then we have more qualities that must provide for rule of law, supremacy, right, everyone? Then if you see the flexible constitution of the UK now, right, so we have flexible constitution of the UK. It is a very easy method of amendment of the constitution. It means it is very easy to amend. Clear, everyone? The UK constitution is a very easy to amend. Clear? Now if you see, like, however in actual practice the exercise is not so simple as it appears to be, because of being a highly developed liberal democratic system, right, in which a strong and enlightened public opinion act as a director and determinator of lawmaking, right? The amendment of British Constitution is almost very cautious, conscious, and a quite difficult exercise. Clear? So if you see in all over, right? Like in the in the upcoming videos I explained you about the constitution of USA, and many other constitutions as well. But in a just, if you see, the flexibility is not, it's not also not supporting the UK. Clear? Flexibility at times leads to instability, like in the same way which I already explained you, right? As a whole, if you see, keep the British constitution, has been and appear and continues to be a very flexible constitution, and its flexibility has helped in it to keep a good pace with the needs of the changing environment, right? Socio-economic and political environment in the country. So this is what a constitution of UK is all about. And obviously, if you want to be, if you want to keep a good constitution like the UK, USA constitution or Indian constitution, right? So you need to have a quality, right? Need to have some quality and a features also, right? It must provide for rule of law the way the Britishers or American constitutions or Indian constitutions are providing, or any other country's constitution, right? Like it must provide for rule of law and supremacy. Then decentralization of power is must. Then independence and powerful judiciary also, because everyone knows Indian constitution, Supreme Court, protect or the guardian of the constitution. A system of local self-government, method of amendment of the constitution, machinery for the conduct of free and fair elections, right? So all these has to be a good quality of the constitution. Just in the same way, if you see, we are coming to, in the upcoming video I'm going to explain you about the constitution of USA, and that is totally opposite of what the UK constitution, the flexibility of the UK constitution. Clear, everyone? So I hope so people have understood by now, key children, what is a constitution, what are its kinds, be it evolved constitution, right, be it enacted constitution. Clear, everyone? Be it flexible or be it rigid constitution. So I hope so people have understood by now what is the constitution all about. The constitution is just nothing, it's a books of rules and document of a rule or a regulations. Clear, everyone? Now flexibility, as I told you, flexible, we have already understood. Flexibility means changes can be done. So here in our syllabus we have to read according to the syllabus, that means according to the countries. That means we have to be clear ourselves with the different countries constitution. Like here we did in this video, we did UK, the constitution of the UK. In the next video I'm going to explain you about the constitution of USA. Clear, everyone? So all these, they're different things, different constitutions you have to study. Clear, everyone? Okay, till then, thank you, children.